Hi everyone, welcome to the next video in this series of mini houses from Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford. I'm using Castle Art Soft Touch pencils and we are doing this very cute. I absolutely adore this picture. Come in, you'll be able to see it is a boot and it's made into a little house. It is just adorable. I'll get it in the center for you. There we go. So how do we start? Well, we could do the boot. I sort of visualise it as brown with black sole and a grey roof. Is that too boring? I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to start the roof and see from there. I definitely want a grey roof, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do tiles of different colours of grey. So I'm just going to get started. I'm going to grab my first grey, which is the charcoal, and gets going. So a roof tile, I tend to colour darker here at the top. So layer it up a bit more and then fade it down towards the bottom so it gets lighter. Okay, and then we're going to do a charcoal grey one here. It's going to be a bit random. I think it will. I usually would do a roof all the same colour. I think it's gonna be nice in different tones like that. I don't know if that's enough of that colour, but this is the cool grey deep, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this top part first here. Again, well, I'm going to do a light layer and then along the bottom make it slightly darker like that, and then colouring in each one bit by bit in the same method. You can see this is quite a different colour grey to the one we used before. I'm just being very random. But I think because we're doing grey, which is not the most exciting of colours, if we can do different shades of grey, then it just makes it look more interesting. Davys grey next. Now you could go, you know, different shades of blue, different shades of red, orange, you know. You don't have to do the old grey. It's just what my brain tells me. The roof that I can see through my window right now is very grey. So I think that's why my brain goes grey. Cool grey, and it's got loads of lumps of moss on. As is our roof. It's quite funny because the moss has all been falling off all over the place, and it's not been that, I suppose it's been a bit windy, but we're not really sure why it's suddenly been falling off. And then I began to observe that there's been this great big jackdaw on the roofs just pecking at the moss, and it's all been falling down. I'm hoping it's not all filling our guttering, but it's been all over the floor, so I actually had to go at sweeping Paynes grey yesterday and swept up quite a bit. Well, I actually just pushed, there's a flower bed in the front of our house. It doesn't belong to us, it belongs to a neighbour, but I just pushed all the moss into the edge of the flower bed. I didn't think he would mind because it would probably be quite good for his garden, to be honest, stop the weeds growing or whatever. And it just meant that when people walk along the path, warm grey light, they're not stepping on this moss, which will get on their shoes and make oh, this one's so much lighter, and make a mess in their house, including us in our house. There we go. Just trying to make that one a bit more. Oh, I think that looks cute. I've never done a roof like that before, believe it or not. I actually copied, I was watching Johanna's book tour this morning, and she did a roof, a castle, a bridge, that's right, a bridge, that was yesterday's, and she did all sorts of different colour stones, and I just really liked it, so I thought I'd try a go. So thank you, Johanna. I copied Johanna. I'm sure she doesn't mind. Right, our boot. Let's have a think. I'm going to grab the walnut brown. I am going to do it brown, and I'm going to put this walnut brown all over as a base. Now don't press too hard here, because we're going to add some other colours to it, some other browns. So I'm just going to put this down, as I say, as a base colour, and I want it to be quite light. So to keep it light, go slowly, hold the pencil far away, not here because you get more pressure, further away, and just tip it on its side and colour the side like that. I love this little washing line as well. Maria Trolle does washing lines too, doesn't she, in some of her pictures, but I remember Johanna did one in Worlds of Wonder outside one of her houses as well. I mean, I don't know whether as a colouring book illustrator you might have to avoid looking at other people's pictures, or else you end up doing, might end up slightly copying them, but I think on the other hand they're bound to influence each other a bit, or maybe all find influence from the same thing, even if it's not each other. Now this is my darkest colour, the burnt umber. I'm going to start with this under the roof line. You can see Johanna's given us a clue with these lines that we need to put some shadow in here. So we're going to add that in with this. So we're going to put the darkest bit right next to the black line, and then just sort of spread it down a little bit to give us a bit of roof shadow like that. Now I feel the edge of our boot here needs a dark bit and then fade it in a bit. Now the reason for that is because if we look at a boot, it's not flat, it goes round the back, and if you put that there, it indicates it's a bit further away and can help us to believe that it's slightly more a rounded item. Now here we're going to do the same thing, being careful in between each little lace. It's fine work, you'll need a sharpish pencil. Now there's a lot of shadow here, look how much Johanna's drawn on there with all these lines, and sort of fade it in like that. And I'm not sure about this stitching on the bottom, I think I'll ignore that for a minute. Now I'm going to go with my Van Dyck brown, which is slightly lighter, and do a bit more further in like this, just to put a bit more colour on. Now you could make it look old or dirty if you want, but I think it could be a nice new boot, or newish. So I don't think it needs to look dirty, and I'm going to go back now to my walnut brown and just tidy up in the middle here. Just mix it all in a bit. Don't leave it as light as it was. And basically here I'm just trying to make it look a little bit neater, a little bit more intense. Like that. There we go. Now we have the sole, and I want to do the sole of our boot in black. So I have got the ivory back. I might use a grey as well. I haven't quite decided yet, but I'm thinking maybe here really dark and then a bit lighter towards the middle of this heel, like that. I don't think we need a grey in there. I think that's fine. I'm going to do the same with this sole part. And then a bit lighter there. I can see here there's a bit of walnut brown. I just want to fill in here. You may not have missed that bit, so you might be fine. Now, I think it's time to add a little bit of colour. I'm thinking windowsills here and chimney. Maybe they would be a little bit lighter. We could go with a burnt sienna, a cinnamon. Let's do a cinnamon. That's a little bit different. We haven't used that yet. Just got to try and find it. There it is. So this is a slightly lighter orangey brown. So it won't look totally unmatching, but it'll just be a little bit different to bring attention to the little features. And the chimney. Now with the chimney, I tend to try and make it a little bit lighter on the edges, again to emphasize the fact that it's cylindrical. It's quite difficult on that little one. There we go. Now I'm looking at the smoke and thinking we want a very light grey. Obviously we've used a lot of greys here. I'm thinking maybe the warm grey light might be the way to go, but I'm gonna put it in little circles. Doesn't have to, you don't have to cover every bit of paper. You can leave some white as well. I might need to add a slightly darker colour as well, just to add a bit of contrast because it's quite pale. I think I will. I want another more browny grey. The Davies is a bit more brown. There it is. And I'm just going to add a few bits of that in places. Makes it look a bit rougher because it wouldn't just be smooth. There we go. Now, our lamp here, I quite like the idea of having a sort of silvery container because I can do that with one pencil a little bit easier than I'm trying to find the right one, Paynes grey, than doing it in gold when we need so many colours and we've got such little space. So here is our Paynes grey. And what I do here is I put a thicker layer on the edge, so layer it up more here and then just fade it towards the centre. We don't have a lot of space. Try and leave a little tiny white gap in the middle, and it makes it look sort of shiny and silvery. Now this pole here, I'm thinking the same thing, silvery. Now you could use a silver pencil for this if you wanted to. Oops, Castle does have their metallic set, but I've done it in grey, made a bit of a mess, but hey, never mind. Now our windows, again we've got, looking at my colours, I think I'm going to go for a golden yellow for these. Using different colours for different windows, I think it's quite nice. I'm going to just block the whole thing in though. I'm not going to do any shine on these. Why? I don't know. I'm just going to sharpen it though. This is a slightly warmer yellow. I almost think it's got a slight pink tint to it, which maybe sounds a bit odd, maybe it's just my eyes. Now I'm thinking hard about our laces and our aglets, because they are quite small. I can do the light the same. I just like the consistency. you can do it differently if you wish. So I'm going to use a silvery, I think I use the cool grey for the aglets, and what I want to do ideally is colour in most of it and leave a tiny bit of white at the top, but they are very small, so I'm not sure that I'm going to achieve that. There we go. And the laces, I really want to make them black, so I am going to where is the black? There it is. I knew I had it somewhere. Ivory black. So I'm just going to colour them in black. But we are going to add a bit of brighter colour in the form of our front door, which I think I could do in, I was going to do it in red, but all of our reds are pinkish apart from the red ochre, which is quite orangey, so I'm going to use the red ochre because I don't want a pinky red door, because I don't think it's going to go with our brown shoe. I'm going to put quite a lot of this down. I want it to stand out. I'm sure my grandfather used to have a red front door. I don't know whether he was allowed to choose the colour of his door because it was a council house. I don't know whether the council painted it or whether he painted it. They're always quite, I'm making the handle the same colour. That's not a mistake. I want a red handle as well. That's how I remembered the door. Red handle, red door. I might be remembering completely wrongly, but yeah. Now I have these curtains here, and I'm thinking maybe an orangey colour would go with the shoe. You know, obviously we always match our curtains with the outside of our house. Usually when you see the inside lining and it's white, but obviously that's very boring. I'm going to use this terracotta and see how it comes out. I'm going to start gently. Now I'm going to go a bit darker on the edge. Like, there we go. Now, this, I'm thinking, is it an empty milk bottle waiting for collection by the milkman? Or is it a magic potion? You could do it either way, but a milk bottle, it's quite hard to colour. Is it empty? Or maybe it's got milk in. I'm quite tempted to do it Naples yellow light and pretend it's got milk in. But I don't know if you'll even see it. But I'm going to do, that's what I want to do. Milk bottle. So here it is, Naples yellow light, and I think we'll find that it's going to be very, very, oops, pale, but then milk is white, but this is slightly creamier. You can do this, of course, any colour you wish. And the lid, I'm going to do silver. I remember when we used to get bottles of milk delivered to the house, that their milk bottle tops were always silver. So again, leave a bit for shine. I mean, their tops didn't quite look like this. Remember pushing your thumb into the top and then it would pop off and you would peel it off the bottle. Maybe I'm just too old. Right, washing. Now, I'm going to do, I don't think our washing should match our house. I feel like that would be a little silly. But on the other hand, we don't want it to be too out there and different. I think I'm going to do the jeans, the trousers, you know, denim jeans type colour. I'm going to use the indigo light. If I can find it. Still looking. I think that might be it there. No. There it is. Indigo light. So in the last place I look, they say. And then other people say, well, why would you carry on looking? So of course it's always going to be in the last place you look. But if you've looked at the name of every blue apart from that one, then that makes more sense. I'm going to make them a little darker on the edges, again to try and just make them look more like a rounded pair of trousers rather than flat. But we don't want them to look too shiny, just a bit rounded. And then what have we got here? Is this, oh, it's a skirt. So we can go any colour. I think I'm thinking purple and then pink. Let's go purple deep. I rarely use that colour. It's not a favourite of mine, but why not? It might be a favourite of yours. Purple deep. I'm going to make the belt waistband a bit darker. Now remember to leave again, make it a bit lighter in the middle. We still want it to look like this is the inside look. We want it to look like it's curved, but also it's got little creases in here and here, so we can draw those in a bit like that, make it just look a bit folded. Now pegs, we've got little clothes pegs. We need a very light sort of brownish colour. None of these are right. Raw umber is probably our nearest. Use it very lightly. Need a sharp pencil to get in there. Now I am going to go back to my walnut brown. I'm just going to tidy up this a bit. I've seen a few places where I feel like it's not quite tidy enough around these laces and aglets and things. And there we go. And last of all, I'm going to use my white pen. I want to try and give the illusion that we've got glass in the windows. It's quite difficult. So I'm going to do some diagonal stripes across the window like this. Now make sure you start them inside of the glass part and don't take them outside of the window area, not onto the sill or onto the shoe. It's really, really hard to see, but I put it there. It might even be better to do that with a grey pen so it shows up a bit better, but I've done it now, and yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I think it is rather sweet. So thank you, Johanna, for that one. I love it. But thank you all for watching as well. I hope that you have a really lovely day and happy colouring.